But I'll explain why and how we find ourselves on the outskirts of one of the most amazing acoustical churches anywhere in the world. I mean, did you... Can we open a gap? And let them pass. Yeah. There's one room over there. Somebody wants to sit down. We're going to head for a minute. Can you hear me okay? Do I need to pick it up or can I speak like it? Okay, listen. This is an A site. This is completely an A site. And let's see if I can explain. We're in a gully. The city of Jerusalem is built on hills. We know about Mount Moriah, we know about Mount Zion, we know about Mount of Olives, but there are also small hills inside that create little gullies. Now you remember there's no rain for 5 months, which means I need to accumulate rainwater during the winter months in order to use during the summer months. The easiest way, the fastest way to do that is to put a dam across the gully. Put a dam across the gully, and I get a pool that backs up during the winter that I can use during the summer. And then I kind of set it up, organize it, put, walkways around, everything's fine. But then I say, wait a minute, I need some more water. So a little bit later, somebody puts another dam a little bit further down. So instead of one pool, I have 2 pools. And then one of the governments at some point kind of set it up, okay, and because they want people to be able to use the pool for all kinds of things, there's also markets, somebody put some money together, so they put awnings around the pools. They put a little bit of shade for cover in the winter and shade in the summer, okay? In Roman terms, they're called porches. Remember we saw those lines of pillars holding up roofs all over the Roman world? Okay, so they put porches around these double pools. So you've got one pool, you got another pool, and you've got porches around, and then they put a porch in the middle. What you get basically is 2 pools with 5 porches around it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 running down the middle. And because we're really close to the temple is right over there, okay, this becomes the main source of water for people in the temple. People probably got baptized here before they went into the temple. You need to be baptized. We're on the other side of the temple from where we were before. This is the northern side of the temple. So these 2 pools, okay, receive the names of the pools of mercy, or the house of mercy. In Hebrew, the pools of Bethesda. Chesed means mercy. Are we okay on this one? So when the Bible talks about the pools of Bethesda, these are the pools. Let's see if I can explain. We're sitting right here right now. We're actually standing next to the central dam. Okay, that was here through the middle. Running through the middle of this would have been a massive dam. And this is one pool. You're actually in the pool. And we're going to go over there in a minute. You'll actually see how deep it is. There's a hole in the ground over there. On the other side is another pool that extends all the way into the trees over there. Okay? So these are the pools of Bethesda. So when the Bible talks about the pools of Bethesda, this is the actual pool. Okay? We're okay on this one? We're talking about an event. We'll read an event that happens here in a few minutes. But here's the thing. When Helena, remember Helena, Constantine's mother, walks around with her tour guide, she asks her tour guides, where is the pools of Bethesda? And he points at the pools of Bethesda, and the pools are still here. So she builds a big, massive Byzantine church on the dike that divides the 2 pools. So if this is the dike here that divides the 2 pools, okay, she builds a church that is bigger than the dike is. The dike's about, 6 feet wide, but the church is about 30, 40, 50 feet wide. So the wings of the church extend down into the pools. So we're going to see in the middle, the pillars actually holding up the wings of the church on this side, and wings of the church would have extended into the pools. It must have been in a magnificent structure over the pools themselves. I mean, you can open a window on the floor and you can actually see the pools of Bethesda. Now, the water level would change drastically. In the summer, it would be down at the bottom, and in the winter, it would probably be full. Okay? And there were staircases all around leading down to the bottom of the pool. And what I'm trying to say is we found that. This is the remains, just a minute, that's the remains of the church that was sitting on the dike. You can see the apsis. You see the apsis of the original church. What happens when the Arabs conquer this area? They destroy all the churches. Okay? So we have the remains of the original church, but what happens when the Crusaders conquer this area? They rebuild all the churches. The Crusaders build another smaller Crusader church over here on the dike, but then the Crusaders do something else. During the Crusader period, Christianity, and I'm going to say the church Christianity, decided that Mary, the mother of Jesus, had to be more than just a woman, especially a woman from Nazareth. Okay, remember, this is medieval times, and there was a decision, or somebody came to the conclusion that Mary was a Jewish princess. She had to be nobility. And if she was a Jewish princess, she couldn't be born in a little tiny nowhere in Nazareth. Okay, she has to be from Jerusalem. So a tradition connected to the site over there becomes the birthplace of Mary, the mother of Jesus. You guys with me on this one? Now, I don't know. I've got pastors here. I don't know. As far as I understand, I don't know. Biblically, I don't have any connection to that. There's no way that I can prove. But traditions are traditions are traditions are traditions. Okay? Okay. Then the Crusaders go and build this church here, dedicated to Anne, the mother of Mary, which is why the name of this church is St. Anne's Church. And it is a classical Byzantine Crusader-style church. It is a basilica-style church. The church itself is shaped like a cross. You saw the apsis at the front. There's two wings, lines of pillars out clear, and the wings on the side. It's one of the few churches in the country that's made completely of stone. Most of these churches, the walls would have been made of stone, but the roof, the ceiling would have been made of timber holding up tiles. This one has a stone roof. And the classic Crusader, you see, if you look at the stones behind you, you can see these kind of, it looks like somebody took a comb and kind of scraped the stones. That's classic Crusader style. This is a neo-Gothic church, meaning the beginning of the Gothic. You can see the beginning of buttresses. Anybody been to the big churches in Europe? Okay? You can see these are buttresses. In the big churches, you see they're kind of hanging out outside. This is a neo-Gothic church, and it is a magnificent church as far as the acoustics are concerned, because they built the churches for people to sing inside. Remember, there's no microphones, there's no sound system. A pastor has to stand in the front of the church, and literally, if the church is quiet, I've seen that church packed on Christmas, and the priest in the front saying the prayers, and everybody could hear him all over the church. The acoustics are such that there's 4 echoes. You clap your hands inside, you get 4 echoes coming back. That's why we have this amazing acoustics. So this is a Crusader-style church. And again, what happened to all the churches when the Arabs conquered this land from the Crusaders? They were all torn down. This is the only one that was not torn down. Because, did you see that marble inscription above the door? The marble inscription above the door in Arabic Christian church. Why Arabic? Because Salah ad-Din was the great Arab leader who beat the Crusaders for the first time, actually donated the church to the city of Jerusalem to be a madrasa. A madrasa is a Muslim school. So instead of tearing it down, they turned it into a school, and that's why the church was not torn down. During the Ottoman period, the Ottoman Turks needed a favor from Napoleon. And Napoleon says, yeah, what do I get out of this? And they said, okay, we'll give you the pools of Bethesda. And Napoleon actually received the pools of Bethesda from the Ottoman Turks as a present. He handed over the authority to a group of Catholic priests or brothers called the White Brothers, who do mostly missionary work in Africa. Okay, and that's the guy in the long white robe you saw inside. And that's why at the top of the church you have the tricolor, it's called. The French flag actually on top. In 1967, okay, when Israel conquers the old city, we left control of all of the Catholic sites in the hands of the Catholic Church. And they're still running the church, okay? But that's the story of the church. But that's not what's important. And we're here because of an event that takes place here that changes a lot of things. Who's going to read it for us?
He says, chapter 5, verse 1, after this, a Jewish festival took place, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem by the sheep gate. Remember? In Jerusalem, there was a pool called Bethesda in the Hebrew, which has 5 colonnades. Within these, a large number of sick, blind, lame, paralyzed, waiting for the moving of the water, because an angel would go down into the pool from time to time and stir up the water. To me, that's always been intriguing. An angel going down once in a while, stirring the water. Then the first one who got in after the first one who got into the water was stirred up, recovered immediately whatever ailment he had. One man was there who had been sick for 38 years. And when Jesus saw him lying there, he knew that he already had been there for a long time. He said to him, "Do you want to get well?" "Sir," the sick man answered, "I don't have a man to put me into the pool. When the water is stirred up, and while I am coming, someone goes down ahead of me." "Get up," he said. Jesus told him, "Pick up your mat and walk." Instantly, the man got well, picked up his mat, started to walk. And at that day was the Sabbath that the Jews set to the man who had been healed. "This is the Sabbath. It is illegal for you to pick up your bed and walk." He replied, "The man who made me well told me, pick up your mat and walk." I mean, how many times does somebody challenge your healing or challenge your relationship with God? You know, many, many times it happens. And the reason is because not only they have unbelief in their lives, but a lot of times people get jealous because that's not happening to them. He goes on. And he asked, but the man who had healed did not know who it was. And it was because Jesus had slipped away into the crowd and was there. And after this, Jesus found him in the temple complex and said to him, "See, you are well, you're healed. Do not sin anymore, so that something worse does not happen to you." Now, it doesn't mean that when you're sick, something's going to come worse to you. In this case, the Lord warned him. He says, I don't know what his background was. I'm going to heal you, but be careful that when I heal you, you don't go back to your old life. I think it's important. And I think kind of like a warning for all of us, you know, why would we want to go back after being sick and being healed? Why would you want to go back to your sickness, which is sin? Sin destroys us. Sin separates us from God. Sin sends you to hell. All these things that sin makes in our lives. He goes on to say, then the men went and reported to the Jews that it was Jesus who had made him well. He confessed it. Hey, the reason I got well is because not of the angel, because of Jesus. He told me to get up, to pick up my mat, and to go away. And think of the instant salvation that he gave all of us. I remember when I asked Jesus to come into my life, I wasn't in the church, I was at home, and instantly he came into my life. And you can give your testimony where it happened, whatever place. But it was the same salvation, the same God that we serve, and the same Savior that saved each one of us individually. And when the water was stirred up, Jesus came along and said what? You're healed. You don't have to do anything else but believe that I am the Messiah. I am the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Okay? As I said, it's down here, you guys.
So beautiful. So this is the place of Bethesda? Yeah, this whole place. This whole place. But they built churches on top of it.